I suppose you wouldn't really expect anything else at this stage, but quite clearly the Russians are not going to change their position, which is that this was a provocation by the Ukrainians. Sergei Lavrov talking as if German Chancellor Angela Merkel, in her phone conversation with Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, had agreed with the Russian president on his position. That's clearly not the case at all. We saw that yesterday at the United Nations Security Council meeting, in which the German with the French ambassador speaking on behalf of France and Germany, made it clear that France and Germany strongly condemned what the Russians had done, as did the United States, United Kingdom, Sweden, Poland, and so on. So, no change of position there, but the Jean-Yves Le Drian suggested to Sergei Lavrov that a gesture would be appropriate at this stage from the Russians, and that the problem in the Sea of Azov was caused by the militarization of the region. Now, what he's getting at there is what has happened since the Russians forcefully annexed Crimea back in 2014. Since then, the Russians have used every opportunity to build up their military force on the peninsula. And in the Sea of Azov as well. So the militarization of the area and Russia's growing concern, because the more military might you put into the area, the more you need to protect it, the more jittery they become about the Ukrainian Navy approaching, even in such small numbers as they did over the weekend. It's the sort of thing that could provoke the sort of incident that we've just seen. So a gesture is called for from the Russians, says the French foreign minister. Whether that's going to be forthcoming or not, probably not. But he certainly called on the Russians to release the Ukrainian prisoners, 23 of them, remember, 23 Ukrainian sailors, as soon as possible.
The French foreign minister also called on Ukraine for a de-escalation there. I'm sure he's referring to this movement toward martial law that's supposed to go into place tomorrow. The president of Ukraine has said that there is an extremely serious threat for him of a Russian land invasion. Is there really, do you think?
No, I really don't think that the Russians are thinking of anything of the sort. The consequences for Russia, for the entire region, would be catastrophic. Russia, I'm sure, has absolutely no intention of doing anything like that. It's quite happy to continue pursuing the policies that it has been pursuing for the last few years with considerable success in the destabilization of Ukraine. It's effectively, by its policies in the Sea of Azov, complicating Ukraine's export of its key goods like steel, coal, and grain to the rest of the world. There's absolutely no need to engage directly in military confrontation with Ukraine, which is not to say that the Ukrainians don't have any cause to feel themselves concerned about the threat from Russia. It comes in all kinds of forms, not necessarily direct military forms. We heard President Poroshenko talking about the hybrid tactics used by the Russians, and of course the Ukrainians are worried. Russia has far superior military might to the Ukrainians and is able to apply pressure in all kinds of different ways on the economy and on politics. And this is a way, you can criticize it, but it is a way that the Ukrainian president has chosen to assert Ukrainian sovereignty at this moment when he feels that the country is threatened by Russia.